watching NDTV special broadcast where we try to bring you answers to lots of concerning questions regarding the vaccination process. Now, at the offset, I want to say NDTV really recommends and we urge everybody to get themselves vaccinated whenever your turn comes. However, there are concerns, there are questions, and you have us for that. We'll be talking to an expert group of doctors telling you how to live long and healthy with the COVID vaccination. Joining us on the program today, we've got a great panel. We've got Dr. J. Hari Prasad. He's a consultant, physician, and diabetologist at the Nalam Medical and Diabetes Care in Chennai. Thanks for giving us your time, Doctor. We have Dr. Anil Poddar. He's a consultant and cardiologist at the Rosha Foundation in Mumbai. Dr. Anant Kumar Pandey. He's a director and senior consultant at cardiology in Delhi. He is from the Dharamshila Narayan Super Speciality Hospital. Thank you so much for your time, doctors. Let me just dive in straight to the question that really is the need of the hour. We are looking at a second wave already picking up, and while nobody has been able to pin down or put a finger on what exactly is the reason behind it, one thing that is coming up more and more in our interactions, at least with doctors at the hospitals and COVID care centers, is that the new variants might be responsible for this second spike. So let me begin by getting in Dr. Hari Prasad and get his view on whether or not the two vaccines available in India at the moment work against these variants that the country currently at least knows of.
At the outset, I would like to appreciate our government for starting the world's largest COVID vaccination drive, which is happening currently in our country. And so moving ahead, the types of vaccines, we are all aware of what we're having, the Covishield, the recombinant vaccine, and the Covaxin, the inactivated vaccine, which is currently available for us. And as such, both the vaccines are currently effective against the COVID infection and also more so also for the variants. And also I would like to highlight a point that or any virus for the matter is susceptible to undergo any mutations or variations as they move from person to person from time to time. This happens to any virus, it's not only just the COVID virus. But that doesn't mean that the virus has to become more lethal or more infective or more serious one as such. So moving ahead, yes, the researchers have clearly proven that the vaccines currently which are available are highly effective against the COVID infection and also the variants in a way that it prevents the onset or it prevents the complications or the serious illness out of a COVID infection as such. But at the same time, we also have to understand that if the variants are going to be the momentary thing which is going to happen down the here annually, then probably we will be looking at an annual vaccine for COVID infection as such, which is like an annual shot which we take for the flu vaccines. So it is prudent enough that any elderly and people with comorbid infection should be taking the COVID vaccine at the earliest.
Right. But despite that, we actually did have a couple of countries actually return the vaccine, saying that the two vaccines available in India at least are not working against those variants. But that's something they've been working on, and the ban then got lifted later. So that's something we can talk about. Let me bring in Dr. Anil Poddar at this point. The key question on everybody's mind really is also on how long does the protection with the vaccines actually last? And what people actually don't understand is that vaccines don't give protection. They don't prevent you from COVID-19. It only sort of gives you a milder form and gives your body the sort of immunity built up to fight the virus. If you could just simplify that for our viewers, please.
Yeah, actually, as you said, that happens. And actually, nobody knows that how long it will last, but it is usually in months, like for a few months. And the studies are going on and the research is going on in that regard, so that we will get a definite answer, because it is too early at at this stage to exactly see that how long it will last. But it gives immunity at least for a few months, and it depends. Immunity again is a thing, it depends on the recipient whose memory, how long it sustains. So some people, it is different in each individual. In some people, the immunity may last longer. In some people, it may be, less effective. So that way. and we are again in the early stage of development of this vaccine, and we are actually not sure that how long it will last. But it is definitely helpful, to have it to avoid, for severe form of disease for yourself.
Right. And also helps to build your own immunity, and the cue from that treadmill that I see behind you is definitely telling us that as well. But taking a cue from that question, I just wanted also Dr. Pandey to talk our viewers through what is the difference really between the efficacy of a vaccine, and then to talk about how the immunity that it provides as well. That a lot of people don't know the difference between what does it mean when the efficacy of a vaccine is actually talked about.
So, well, I think our two panelists have really highlighted the things very nicely. So one thing I would like to add is that it is ultimately your immunity which is most important.
Right.
So a good lifestyle and good dietary habits and yoga and controlling your various risk factors like hypertension, diabetes is ultimately the key to be healthy. But top of that, you see, if in the same scenario, in same circumstances, many people have got COVID and many have been not affected by COVID. So this defines itself that individual immunity playing a huge role. So that is immunity, how you fight the disease, not COVID, but any disease in the past also. A good immunity will definitely save you from various diseases. Now let's come to the vaccination. So India is by choice, we have two vaccines. One is Covaxin by Bharat Biotech and one is Covishield by AstraZeneca. On an average, they have been 75 to 80% effective. So when I say 75 to 80% effective, in a nutshell, for a layman, that if 100 patients have been given, people have been given vaccination, 80 will not get COVID. That is one. If they get COVID, the COVID will be milder form. So that is the beauty of vaccination. Everyone should get vaccinated. There, the data are not compiled. The new variants which we are talking about is there are 3-4 new variants which have changed the spike proteins in COVID virus. They say that the data are not much whether the patient has been infected by these new variants after vaccination. But whatever limited data are available from Bombay studies, that even if the new variant has been there, the infection is very mild.
Dr. Prasad, we often get asked this question very frequently on how people who take insulin, can they take the vaccine as well? Remember, this is at a time when more and more studies have talked about that people with diabetes see the maximum impact of COVID. It's hardest for them to fight out the virus. So those on insulin, what should their strategy for vaccination be?
See, we all understand that one of the major comorbids for COVID infection is one is diabetes. So the diabetes and also the duration of diabetes, the longer the duration of diabetes, probably the patient would have also had a period of time, that patient would have also had a new onset or certain patient would have had a micro or macrovascular complications would have set in. We all understand that diabetes is it's not only an hormonal disorder. It is to do a lot with metabolic and a vascular disorder. I'm sure all the cardiologists will agree. It's more of a vascular disease, so causing thrombosis and all other the events related to the atherosclerosis or the blocks in the blood vessels. So having said that, a patient on insulin would have been at least in a little advanced stage of a diabetes as such, because he is one who's not on control with the tablet, so he's moved on with an insulin. So at that point of time, he's highly susceptible for the complications what I've mentioned, and also to any infections because of the lower immunity and the immune system in his body. Talking about the viral infection, COVID infection, he or she is a high risk patient to develop an infection, and if he develops an infection, he is highly susceptible to have a very severe form of illness, causing even a life-threatening complication. So someone who's diabetic on insulin on OHS, definitely they should go ahead and take the vaccine. There is no difference that the drug should be stopped or anything like that. They are the candidates, the eligible candidates, and it is proven that they should take the vaccine at the earliest.
Let's quickly slip into a break. We'll be back on the other side with lots more questions. Stay tuned.
The NDTV network.
Welcome back. You're watching a special broadcast right here on NDTV 24/7 where we are taking all the questions regarding the vaccination process and we are trying to cut the clutter on them and bring you a perspective from a pool of expert doctors. All right. So let's go back to our panel and let me bring in Dr. Anand Pandey at this point. Dr. Anand, many elective surgeries were actually being postponed due to COVID, and especially with the second surge also coming in, more and more infrastructure and facilities are required for COVID. Are these surgeries safe now? Can surgeries like angioplasty, etc., being done even post-vaccination? And what happens to somebody who, say, has an emergency in middle of a vaccination, in middle of his 2 doses?
Well, a very important point, at this moment of time. First thing is that no doctor has postponed any emergency procedure. And you'll not believe I had to do primary angioplasties just beginning of COVID last year. Let's talk about elective surgeries. So if you remember now, any surgery if a patient undergoes, you see they have to go for HIV and hepatitis B antigen. Earlier they were not a part of this. So I think when we are planning a major surgery in this COVID era, any elective surgery, we have enough time, we always get a COVID negativity reports and then go ahead. You think other way around. A lot of patients who are asymptomatic and COVID positive. Suppose you operate them, they have a very bad stormy course after surgery if COVID has not been ruled out. That is one. Second thing is that those who patient require a prolonged surgery, COVID badly affects the lungs. So it is very tough for anesthetists to extubate these patients who had no COVID status known before surgery. So third very important point is that, see, it is not only the doctor who is at risk, a large number of healthcare professionals who are in the chain of managing those patients, OT technicians, nurses, ward boys, GDS, CC staff, ICU staff, they are all exposed to unknown COVID status patient. So yes, we are doing all the patient, we are not doing anybody who is needing medical treatment or intervention or surgery. But if we have time, I personally feel that COVID must be a part of routine evaluation. Yes, we are doing every patient's angioplasties, bypass surgeries, and God is kind that we have given the best research we had given in pre-COVID era.
Okay, let me also get in the next question from Dr. Anil Poddar. Doctor, are people with anticoagulant therapy like friends safe for vaccination? Any special advice, for example, do you have for them?
The most important advice is, the patients who have undergone angioplasty or who have undergone bypass surgery, who are on antiplatelets, basically on blood thinners, that they should not stop it. This is the most important message, because many of them have confusion, and the antiplatelets or blood thinners are required every day for maintaining of their status, so that blood clots don't form. And taking the vaccine on these blood thinners have no disadvantage. It is very safe, and they have to just at the puncture site, just keep it pressed for maybe a minute or so, or slightly longer period of time, and not to rub it, just keep it pressed for a longer period of time, and that's it. If there is a small kind of a bruising or something, that they should just watch it, but not to get alarmed. That is important.
Let me bring in Dr. Pandey for some clarification on antihypertensive medications as well. So when it came to the comorbidities list, one of the major things has been that people with high blood pressure who are already taking medicines, etc., what should they be doing? There needs to be a change. Should they go see a doctor as well? What is your advice to those people?
Well, initially, if you see the COVID when it started, there was some rumors about some class of drugs like ACE inhibitors and ARBs. But now enough literature has been poured in, and all antihypertensive drugs are safe. Idea is to maintain good blood pressure, because the maximum number of mortalities or serious issues which came in COVID patients were those were hypertensives and diabetics, had a post bypass, cancer patients. All serious comorbidities. So idea is that one patient should be very positive. He should take his medicines very regularly. His BP and sugar should be nicely controlled. As you had discussed earlier, uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled blood pressure is not good for patients who is going to get COVID. They should have a regular follow-up with the doctors.
The next question to Dr. Hari Prasad really. Doc, people with stents, we've talked about people with heart diseases, those with hypertension, angioplasty, etc. But what about those who have stents? And both the vaccines, since the tech is so different on both of them, how do you think, are they safe, are they not safe?
The cardiac patient, yes, who's got stents and also the diabetic hypertensive patients who are, potentially a cardiac patient, yes, if they are on stents, definitely they are again standing on high risk to develop they're highly susceptible to develop a serious infection. So they are to be given the vaccine shot at the earliest again.
Dr. Poddar, I actually have another question for you. So when it comes to comorbidities, diabetes was seen as a high risk. Obesity also in several reports has been seen as a high risk. So could you take us through with people who are slightly obese or are dealing with some cholesterol issues as well? Is there something they need to be particularly careful about while taking the vaccination?
No, it's about, careful means everybody needs vaccine. Everybody should take it. The only thing is it's not contraindicated in any form of disease. The only thing is that you should have a control over your, parameters, whatever you suppose you are diabetic, you are hypertensive, or you are whatever cholesterol is high. It should be well controlled. Or if you're not visited your doctor for a long period of time, you do that and, see that everything is in control. And then go for it. That is better strategy.
Okay, so good to know that as well. Let me bring in the last question to Dr. Pandey over there. We've discussed in detail about comorbidities and how people should be careful and obviously get the vaccine, but keep your doctor in loop as well. Are there other certain areas that perhaps you feel or diseases that people need to be careful about? And so far, whatever reports we've seen or studies we've seen abroad that they tell us, any particular perhaps age group that you're looking at that needs to be getting their checkups done, or need to be any particular area they need to be careful about when they get the vaccine?
First of all, we have to understand that vaccine is not a Ramband. We have to practice the standard 3 dictates of COVID, that is hand hygiene, mask and social distancing. So they will remain
even after the
cornerstone.
vaccine, that is. That's very important to highlight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vaccine is going to reinforce that. That is one. See, government has allowed those who are above 45 to get vaccination. So if you see the above 45 is 38% population is above 45 years. If you start vaccinating by 20 lakhs per day, the rate which is going at the present, we are going to vaccinate this crowd in next 6 months. And this is the age group where there has been maximum mortality. Total mortality, if you pool, 88% people have died who have been beyond 45 years. So vaccination doesn't mean that now you are free to move around. No. Get vaccinated, get more protected, but improve your immunity and practice 3 standard mask, sanitizations and social distancing. One thing I would like to give through NDTV a message, let us socially connect with each other and physical distancing with vaccine, with good immunity, controlling your comorbidities of diabetes, blood pressure, hypertension, everything. I think you are going to win the battle. As we had won 3 months back, in February, the number of cases had been very low. Now there is second wave. This will also pause on, but we should not be complacent. We should be very active as we had been earlier.
All right, that's a good note actually to end the show on. Dr. Pandey, Dr. Poddar, Dr. Hari Prasad, thank you so much for your time. We really hope this is helpful for all our viewers as well. The bottom line really in all of this is that go and get yourself a vaccine whenever your turn comes, and whichever vaccine it is really at this point. That is what more and more doctors are telling us, because that is our only protection and the only key out of this pandemic. So ensure you participate, because vaccinating yourself, you cut the chain of transmission. So you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting people around you as well. So keep that in mind. Go get your vaccination. Thanks for watching.